Opening day was a great event here. I remember that fondly still, all the excitement.
Your one brush with royalty?
My one brush with royalty, the Duke and Duchess of York, yes, which was interesting because it was their first outing, their first official visit as a married couple, and they were very impressive, I have to say. One of the things that I found extremely interesting is about 6 months before they arrived that we had to do up briefing books on the background to the site and the story and what a buffalo jump was all about and whatnot. I mean, you do this kind of thing in government all the time for various visiting dignitaries and whatnot. Usually that's the last you ever hear of it. What I could not get over is when the Duke and Duchess of York arrived at the building, when they arrived at the front door, it was obvious they had read every page. The two of them hit the ground with a million questions, and myself and Reg Croshoe were the official guides, and I'll tell you, we were just inundated with questions from the two of them, knowledgeable questions from the two of them, right from the time we hit the door. And it was also pretty amusing in that, you know, like these things are all highly orchestrated, and this was supposed to be, as I recall, about a 30-minute visit top, and we had been drilled on this repeatedly, and then you know, the protocol people had been up one side of us and down the other, that we were to hold them. Oh yeah. Well, let me tell you right now that royalty doesn't lead real well. They don't take instructions real well at all, and boy, I'll tell you, those two were not interested in my constant attempts to move them along, and they spent over 2 hours here, which threw a massive monkey wrench into the scheduling of events later in the day for them elsewhere in the province. But it was simply because they themselves were so absolutely fascinated by this thing that they couldn't get enough of the questions and what they could see and talk about here and all the rest of it. So it was a real signature visit and was a terrific launch for the whole.
It was kind of heady times, wasn't it?
Oh,
most of us,
heady times.
Didn't have we didn't have any experience dealing with royalty, and I was running the archaeological dig here at the time, and of course I normally dress as an archaeologist, and I found out that I would be in the laboratory area and I would be allowed to meet them, you know. They would lower themselves to meet me. And so then I had to get some good clothes. I didn't have any. You don't pack a suit and tie when you go to the field. So I sent home to my home in Edmonton, and I got a shipment down of a box with a shirt and a dress, a sports coat and a tie. I don't remember if I got pants or not, but I got these down because everything was horribly wrinkled. Well, did I need to wear them? Okay. So everything gets terribly wrinkled, of course. So I got a lady from the jump who worked there, this sweet, wonderful lady, took the stuff home with her, came back, it all pressed the next day. And so I got all suited up. And of course we felt kind of goofy because we're working on an archaeological dig dressed in suit and tie. And we're hanging out around the downstairs. And the place was crawling with these Secret Service guys and, you know, guys who speak into
their wrist all the time.
And wearing sunglasses inside. And they had chosen my office as the safe place to put the royal couple in case anything went wrong. Because I had an office literally in the absolute interior, you know, you couldn't get at it from any direction. Well, they have to do a sweep of it, you know, and so they had these sniffer dogs and everything come in, and these dogs are sniffing around. Well, I had one Blackfoot kid on my crew who just loved firecrackers, and so he used to throw them out on the prairie all the time, and before opening it didn't matter, there was nobody here but us and gophers. They didn't like it too much. But he used to carry them in his backpack, and that's where we kept all our backpacks, was up in a rack in the office. Well, the dogs went nuts. Their tails are wagging and they're pointing, and the you know, the rifles come out, and they drag me over there saying, what is in those packs? And of course I had no idea. I couldn't think at the time. So I'm shoveling through them, and then there's the dregs of some firecrackers, and they're not amused, Bill. Those guys don't have a sense of humor like the rest of us.
I don't think that's part of the job description.
No. But then the royal couple came through, and then there was, of course, the famous moment with the buffalo head.
That's the heady moment.
Why don't you tell that story? That's worth getting on tape here.
It's just that, you know, again, these things are all highly orchestrated, and they're supposed to be one thing and another, and speeches and presentations and whatnot. But just as royalty doesn't take direction real well in these situations,
the press takes it even less.
The press takes it even less, and the native people take it even less when they think they're dealing with their home turf here. So one of the things that really stands out was that theoretically all the speeches were over and all of the presentations were made. when out of the crowd staggers a gentleman by the name of Willie Big Bull, carrying a mounted bison head, which he staggers up to the royal couple and promptly presents to the Duchess of York. And you could hear the press going nuts. It's full of British press, the British tabloids. There were 80 of them here. They had their own airplane. And you could hear them all shouting to one another, "Shot of the day, shot of the day, shot of the day," and they're all scurrying around taking shots of Fergie staggering around with this buffalo head in her arms, and her eyes were about this big.
She actually held it.
Oh,
for
she grabbed it when Willie
5
just,
or 10 seconds or something.
Willie just walked up, and I mean, it was either take it or it was going to fall on her feet.
And I remember the photo. She actually had a big grin on
Oh
her face.
yeah.
She just loved this.
Yeah.
She's holding this massive buffalo head. And the other thing I remember is thinking, well, we know what the front page of every newspaper in Britain is tomorrow. It's going to be that shot.
It was shot of the day, I'll tell you.
And of course, then the animal rights groups got all protesting because it was a gift. Now they had to take it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what they did with it after that.
No, and not only that, I mean, I think part
Who
of
do you
the...
suppose got it in the divorce?
I don't know.
Well, he gave it to Fergie. So,
he handed it
to
to Sarah Ferguson, so I don't know. I guess she had first dibs.